Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are in the right place. Don't change that. I was going to say change that dial, but that would have dated me. Don't hit that button. Don't swipe left.
Don't scroll.
Don't swipe up or down. Don't speak to Siri while you're on the Forever in a Day show. Thank you so much for coming back, joining us this Thursday for another episode of the Forever in a Day show. I am Sean, and you are?
Antoinette.
Of the Forever in a Day show, where we focus on God, family, career, and finances.
We're actually Forever in a Day Publishing, LLC.
That's true. We're the Forever in a Day Publishing, LLC, and this is the Forever in a Day show, where we focus on God, family, career, and finances. Thank you for joining us tonight for episode 31, Love Languages Part 2. Be sure to catch all of our episodes on our social media at FAAD LLC on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. All our business pages.
So cute. Oh my gosh. You said that quick. You did. You are on a mission, boo.
Excited.
You excited for tonight's episode?
Absolutely.
All right, so it is customary that we start with prayer so that God can just usher in the conversation and allow if there any type of things that are brought up that they do not fester within our home. So,
Amen.
Sorry. Heavenly Father, we come to you today just saying thank you for this terrific Thursday. Thank you for encamping your angels around our family so that we are able to join in with you tonight. We absolutely love and praise you, Father, for keeping us all healthy in our right mind and just having a good time to just unwind with the Forever in a Day show. Yep. Thank you for blessing us, Father, and thank you for allowing us to be a blessing to so many. It is in your Son, Jesus Christ's holy name.
Holy name.
Amen.
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 Amen. Yes.
Good. So again, if you haven't checked out our, previous episodes, they're on demand. So on your Saturday morning, when you're drinking your coffee out on your porch or your deck, tune into the Forever in a Day show. Check out those previous episodes. When you're at the gym, on the treadmill, getting your stair climber on, go ahead and plug in. Listen to some of the jewels that we've been able to share with our audience members, our friends, family. And again, we hope they are a blessing to you. So tonight, we actually are going to jump in. The first topic, and again, I don't know who's in, but if you are in, please join in with the chat. Announce yourself, your name, how long you've been rocking with the Forever in a Day show. And again, share some of your experiences as we go through this discussion. So
last week, we did episode 30, which was Love Languages, Acts of Service, and Physical Touch. The love languages are based off of Dr. Gary Chapman, and so we decided to just tap into it. As we stated last week, me and the kids went through our love language quizzes and were able to identify our love languages. So please go back to episode 30 and get that information, and I hope that you guys are able to tap into your particular love language, or at least get you excited to learn a little bit more about your love language. Today, we're going to talk about acts of service and physical touch. All right. So acts of service. Oh, excuse me. That was last week. This week, we're going to talk about words of affirmation and receiving gifts.
Words of affirmation and receiving gifts.
Yeah. So as we all know, we all love differently. And we just, continue to the desire to be loved. We want to expose all of you to learning how to communicate love well. That was the whole purpose of last week's start. And we're going to continue that tonight. So words of affirmation is Siani's love language. And while Siani is helping to fix her father's coffee, I'm going to have her come over in a little bit and talk about, should I go into my love language first?
I forgot I was fixing dad's coffee.
Do you want me to go in the love language, or are you ready to join us and sit down and talk about your love language?
I can join you.
Awesome. You look beautiful. She's good checking herself in the mirror. Let me make sure that you are within position. We have enough space where
Thank
you're
you,
on.
sweetheart.
So here, you go ahead and sit between us. They can still hear me, so we'll be okay. Okay. All right. So greet the good people.
Good morning. Hi, everyone. My name is Siani,
And how old are you, Siani?
and I'm 20 years old, born November 17, 2000.
Oh, okay. And so let's talk a little bit about the love languages. And, we did our quizzes. You've already done your quiz before, but we did our quizzes again last week just to see if our love language has changed. Has words of affirmation always been your love language, or has it changed?
I used to think that my love language was physical touch, but then after doing the quizzes, I realized that it was words of affirmation. And I knew that words of affirmation always were important to me, but the quiz just confirmed that was my number one love language. Yeah, because I like to hear that the people that I care about appreciate me, and whether it's good or bad, the people who are closest to me, their opinions matter a lot and they resonate a lot. So when I hear positive words of affirmation, it does make my day and it does boost my mood, and I feel love that way.
Mm-hmm.
Good. So here's another question. I have a lot of questions, if you don't mind, Dad.
Not at all.
So can you tell with words of affirmation, can you tell when someone's being genuine, when they're sharing something that they've appreciated about you or what they've seen you do or complete? Can you tell when someone's being ingenuine?
Yes, definitely. In their tone, their body language, what prompted them to articulate that they were appreciative of whatever I did or affirm me. That's how I usually can tell whether they're being genuine, if it really was from their heart, if I really did something that made their day and they're sharing it with me. Yeah.
So are you okay with words of affirmation being not just about you, but also what you've done to help other people?
I think that I pride myself in being a good friend, a good companion, a good sister, a good daughter. So when I hear those people tell me that they appreciate their relationship as much as I'm hoping to be there for them, because a lot of times in my relationships, I'm focusing on how I can be a good companion to that person, not so much what I'm lacking from them. So to hear that they affirm that makes my day. I know that my work is being appreciated.
Truly.
So, if I understand you correctly, if the person you're in a relationship with can paraphrase, how they appreciate you genuinely, then that is the affirmation that you're looking for, or
Yes.
that you appreciate. Got it.
Especially when I know it's not of their character to really be emotional or communicate their feelings. I even noticed that. I noticed it's even more. I know a lot of times, because my love language is words of affirmation, I'm always affirming other people. And that brings me just as much joy as receiving affirmation. Because I know that what I would like, usually portray your love language, your own love language to other people.
Yeah.
Because that's what you want to receive. So when they do it, I'm like, oh my gosh, thank you so much.
You get me.
Cool. Yeah. So when we talk about love language, a language is part of communication. Communication is more than one person, right? So with the love language, how do you communicate your love language to whomever you are in relationship with? Whether it's Dad and I, it's Sean, it's a boyfriend, it's a friend, it's a colleague. How do you communicate your love language so that your needs are met?
Well, it took, honestly, I didn't even realize I had to do that until recently. You assume your love language is the way you show love in general, but then that's not really the case. So in my relationships, with my best friend, she, I never really had to articulate it, but I guess because we've been together so long, we've realized when we smile, oh, it's because I did this, or what we like to hear. I know that she's not a physical touch person, and I'm not really physical touch that much either. But she's receiving gifts and acts of service, because I know she'd be like, oh my God, so excited when I would do something for her or without her asking. And I was the same way. So it was more so through observation. And I feel like that means more. Because of course, if you have to tell someone, I like flowers when you I like when you bring flowers on the way home, and then they bring flowers on the way home. They heard you, but they didn't do it because they wanted to. It's more so because you told them to. It's not as exciting.
It's not as genuine.
It's genuine. Yeah.
It's not as genuine. So, can you, Siani, share with us the reason why you feel that words of affirmation are critical for your leadership and for your self-worth and for your self-love?
I look at it as far as like in my 20 years, there have been a lot of evaluations, a lot of tests, a lot of meetings, you know, in my leadership in like SEA at my school and taking SOLs at the end of the year to test my progress. All of those things were verbal signifiers of my progress, and those things made me, I realized that there was always like, if I did good, there was a positive outcome or a positive look or a positive criticism, like, wow, you did great, this is what you can improve on. And I love criticism. I love it so much because I see it as I can grow, and someone wouldn't share criticism with me if I feel like they didn't have my best interest, you know. So I feel like that's what was your question?
What I hear,
but you want to affirm what you hear?
Absolutely. What I hear is that feedback. You know, again, it affirms you. So the feedback that you receive is something that you yearn for. You know, again, back to your point, you wanted to be genuine, and you said, I think, good. Even constructive criticism or positive criticism, because you can grow. So,
and that adds to the self-worth and the self-love.
Yes.
Even though it's self, we are in relation with a lot of people, right? And so
simultaneously,
at the same time, right? And so we gather nuggets from so many people. Of course, their value on you is different, right? Grandma used to always say, you don't need anyone to validate you. You're right, but I do want to be appreciated.
Yeah.
So therefore, if Dad says it, we just talked about this last night. If Dad says something to me, it means a lot more than say you or Mr. Dawood, because there's a different relationship that we have. And I think that's pretty much what you're saying. No matter the relationship, right? It's important for your wealth and not wealth, but worth and your love too. It does add to it. It does truly. Is there any other points? If there's anyone out there that has words of affirmation as your love language, please feel free to share how or what specifics do you like to be affirmed in? Is it an action? Is it a gift of some sort? Is it your time that you are given to people? Give me one affirmation that you have received from your father that was an absolute heartwarming gesture. I'll do me and Dad, so you can do each of us. I know that's on the spot.
Like, Dad is always telling me, like, and he does the same thing.
With the
He
side
tilts
look.
his head and smiles without any teeth, and he's like, I love you. Come here.
Bring it in.
And I'm like, he's like, I really love you. Like, I'm glad that I have you as a daughter. And it's usually after like maybe some conflict or confrontation, or like we had a disagreement, and it affirms that that conversation isn't going to affect our relationship as much as it might have felt like
In the moment.
And I like, as frustrating as it is sometimes, like you want to go to bed mad, he makes sure that we don't really go to bed upset, or that we at least hear each other and it's like, well, we'll just agree to disagree then, but it's not really like, unresolved. And then my mom, probably like when I come in and I ask her like if she needs anything, just checking in with her and her affirming that she appreciates me doing that, which is it's ironic because I do that because she communicated that that's how she feels appreciated when I come in and check on her and see if she needs anything while she's like decompressing from work. It's like I'm giving her space, which she appreciates, but also making sure that she's good and doesn't need anything before she gets up and starts her evening half of the day or her home half of the day. So I appreciate those.
Awesome. All right. Any words of wisdom before you skedaddle out of the show?
Yes, I would suggest. Well, personally, as a takeaway, not really takeaway, but just a reflection. A lot of times I've had to, with the criticism thing, since I appreciate it so much, sometimes I give it without anyone asking for it. So like my friends, I might be like, yeah, I'm a heavy communicator. Like I'm really good at communicating, but with my peers, they're not as like open for communication. Sometimes they're like, why are you telling us this? But it's like, this is going to make us better. So I'm like, a lot of times I'm like, I just don't feel like I like the way you said that. You could have phrased that differently, or next time just let me know. You don't have to be upset and then I don't know why you're upset, or just little things like that. And receiving their criticism about me criticizing them, I'm just going in a loophole right now.
No, but it makes sense. Yeah.
Just,
it's almost easier to dish it than to actually take it. Like,
yeah.
but it's for I'm helping you. But then they tell you weren't helping me.
Because criticism has a negative connotation, and it's like,
it does.
but I don't perceive it that way. But not everyone thinks the same way I do.
That way.
So,
Yeah.
Yeah, that's my takeaway.
And I think that takeaway, speaks to what Mom was mumbling or singing through. I think love languages might be hereditary in some senses, or at least they might be social constructs where you observe a certain pattern.
Nature versus nurture. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that might be some research. If anybody's watching and you consider your kids or your parents, again, we got insurance commercials talking about, we become our parents. So in a way, do we actually mimic some of their love languages or vice versa? So it's something to consider. Everything you said in that last piece, Sione, is something that I'm working through, with my therapist. And again, with communicating with all three of the people who I'm in relationship with in the home, my wife, Antoinette, daughter, Sione, son, Sean, because that sort of opinion that's not asked for, I think as I'm hearing it, I'm still operating in my love language, but not communicating in somebody else's love language. The words that I believe are my opinion and they're affirming somebody else, no, that's in my head.
It's in your head.
It's like, oh, you want to hear this because it's something I would want to hear. But operating in that space in relationship with other people, I think you actually just help clear some things for me too. So we appreciate you coming on the Forever and a Day show.
So before you leave, though, formally, just want to say thank you for taking the time to come on over and join into the show, because what you have to give is a different perspective, and love languages is not just for married couples. Love language is for children, for married couples, for relationships at work, for your co-workers. Yes. It is about relations. So I appreciate you taking the time out. Like you can't get these moments back. So it is appreciated. And we definitely love you for doing so.
Thank you.
Thank you. Mwah.
Hold up. You didn't kiss me back.
She blew a kiss.
Love you, Dad.
Love you too, sweetheart.
We got you after the show.
Oh my gosh, you're so cute. I love it.
And that is our princess, Sione McDonald.
Wow, she's a little like a young lady, heading into her womanhood. She says she's a queen in training. Sounds good.
I like it.
Yes,
like
indeed.
It. So now we get the transition. Is it all right to transition?
Sure. You transition all you want to. Cute 'em, poot 'em.
Absolutely. So, we're talking about Antoinette's love language. It's in terms of receiving gifts. So as you're out there and you're thinking about if your love language is receiving gifts, definitely share in the comments, in the chat, if you've tapped into this love language. Well, first question is, when did you recognize that your love language was accepting or receiving gifts?
As far as when did I learn, maybe, I don't know, it feels really good to receive things. So I'm thinking maybe when we moved here, because I didn't really understand
To Virginia.
Okay. I really didn't understand after we, of course, were married, really didn't understand the importance of the self-love piece, right? And so things became a way of demonstrating love to me, right? However, when you look at the love language of receiving gifts, it's deeper than that, right? But I'm talking about where I was when we first moved down, and I started realizing that I really did enjoy getting gifts, you know, and I was very specific about the gifts that I wanted. Yes, I want a Tiffany bracelet and a Tiffany necklace. I would love to have a Tiffany blue box. I would love to experience that. I will only wear Coach and only wear Dooney and Burke. Like those type of immaturities were the first steps of like receiving gifts. Like it was physical. It was not physical, tangible things. Now in my maturity, it doesn't matter what it is. It's the fact that you thought so much about me to bring me something. It's a gesture.
Right.
You know, Sean is real big at night. He will fill up my water bottle and he'll come in with the ice and the water, sit it on a nightstand. So, you know, we can take our medicine. He knows that I like to drink during the night. He does that. That gesture is is reception of gifts of, I feel if you love me enough, it's the thought that counts, right? And so things like that I really enjoy. You know, gestures like opening my car door. Sean has always opened. I keep saying on the end of my always. Like, what is that? Okay, always open my car door. And those gestures don't go unnoticed. You know, I don't have to remind him. I don't need to stand by the door. You know, he already in the car, pushed to start, and I'm still standing outside. None of that. It's always been a situation where Sean has opened the door. So it's not, that wouldn't necessarily be an act of service. It's a gesture. I'm receiving it's not a respect, but it is a gentleman courtesy that he has given to me, and
chivalry is
the
not dead.
chivalry that the chivalry that you display is a gesture that I take as a gift that you're giving me. Okay, so that's where I am.
Absolutely. Now, I think it's important to talk about in terms of how do you manage as far as the gifts, tangible, or like you said, the gestures. You know, is there a feeling that, you know, your tank might be empty? So if you will, speak about that. Like, how do you manage my tank is full versus my tank is empty in the spirit of the gift love language?
So, I mean, there are numerous times where I feel like my tank is empty, right? Because and I'm not to minimize your position or your masculinity, but as a woman and a mother and a wife, we give, not, you know, of course, not in comparison to anyone else. I can only speak for myself. But we give and we give. So my tank seems to be a lot more empty than what I'm giving. Siani talked about how you usually lead and love people in your own love language.
True.
So I love to purchase things for everyone. And I don't purchase cheap things. Like I don't go to, you know, the discount store. Like I go and I purchase because it was thought, and I want the quality of those items. And then I expect it back at some time. And there are times that, you know, the disappointment sets in because my tank isn't full. It wasn't reciprocated. So one of the things I am learning is that you don't have to have reciprocity, and you don't have to be disappointed in people. It's all about your response to it. If you're leading in love and you buy something for someone or you do something for someone and they say thank you, that's enough. Like, you don't have to be expecting with hands wide open, expecting something in return. And those are new things that I'm learning.
Yeah.
You know, that I am learning in my growth of what's my love language, and then how do I want that love language to be displayed.
Right. I think that speaks volumes just in terms of, again, making sure that you're speaking in your own love language and not literally mirroring what your love language is for somebody else.
Somebody else. Mm-hmm.
You know, and again, that's what I think Ani was alluding to. Like, all right, I'm giving my opinion or I'm sharing this because her love language is words of affirmation.
She's open to that.
Right.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it doesn't necessarily mean that we're all open to it as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So again, you know, listening to a 20-year-old and listening to, you know, a 25-year-old. So
Who's the 25-year?
You are.
Who's 25?
You are.
When?
Today.
Why?
You're not 25? How old are
I've
you?
been 25 and 18 years.
See?
18 years.
I was living
Are
in
you
my words of
serious?
affirmation.
I don't need to be affirmed. Nah. I am 43
It didn't
years
give what it was
old.
supposed to have gave.
It didn't. That joint went. Sheesh. One of the other pieces, I think I already said, it's the thought that counts.
Yes.
You know, and for me, I'm going to say this out loud.
Mm-hmm.
Siani alluded to it too. So as far as receiving gifts for me is flowers. Like I really love flowers. I like flowers being delivered. And I love flowers so much that I started to send Sean flowers.
Good point. I think it's a good example. Speak to the people.
I started to send him flowers and nice little cards, these masculine plants and sunflowers and bamboo stuff like that, just ridiculous. And I'm like, oh, that's Lake Ridge Floors. Who they coming? Oh, it's for another teacher. Okay. Oh, those are beautiful. No. If I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it from my heart, not to encourage Sean to do that for me. He stated last week quickly about I really enjoy Raisinets. So he'll bring home some Raisinets or salt and vinegar potato chips from Lidl. And those type of things mean so much to me. Of course, they're food and I enjoy snacking. But just the fact that he's on his way home, like, you know what, let me go pick my babe up something, that lets me know that he is not forgetting that is my love language and it's intentional, and that means a lot to me.
I appreciate that. I want to circle back to the flowers.
Yeah.
Because, you know, after some discussion and a lot of expense, because that's not my love language, Antoinette and I communicated and was like, no, you're missing me
Love.
in terms of not. I don't want the flowers. I couldn't appreciate the flowers because that's not my love language. So I'm like, oh, they're nice, but it didn't melt my heart. So, you know, I think that was, again, a good communication experience and seeing like, oh, okay, you know what I mean? Yes, you like flowers. I don't like flowers.
I don't like flowers.
And it goes back to the tank, you know, so financially, if you want the flowers, but you're buying them for me, that flower expense is already done. Like, we both are not getting flowers because that's a whole budget item in the budget, and that's not there.
It's not budgeted.
It's not budgeted for 2 bouquets of delivered flowers. But again, we had to go through that to be like, all right, well, cool. Now, you know, again, I'm not consistent in terms of flowers at all. I'll admit that. You know, I definitely am missing some opportunities to, again, you know, flourish my wife with flowers. Be it delivered or, you know, brought home. So, you know, I'm receiving the messages as well while we're here on the show. So it's good.
I know. So our recording, our live is a little delayed on my phone. So, you know, I'm like, oh, no one's even joined. Well, folks have joined. And we have, so Yvette has joined us again. Definitely a faithful friend, and we so appreciate you. She stated that, like, so far she believes that her love language is affirmation, like Siani's love language, but she's going to go ahead and take the test just to be sure, right? Because I thought my love language was affirmations as well. Like, I like to be, you know, noticed when I'm doing something good. But when I took the test, it was like, yeah, I would much rather have a trinket of some sort or someone to give me something to demonstrate that they love me. It might sound superficial, but it must mean something when you have a whole doctor do an entire study on the love languages, right?
It's real.
So it's a real thing. Jada has joined us. What's up, Pittsburgh fam?
What's going on?
Now in the Virginia area. I'll let Siani know that you thank her for her wisdom and her sharing of the reality that she has at 20 years old. And cousin Jessica joined, and thank you again, Honey Bun, for joining us. I'm glad you really are getting something out of our conversations, and having Siani a part of it. We allow our child. I won't say allow, but we really do create an environment where our children have voices, and our household is not, children are to be seen and not heard.
Right.
We really find the value. Sometimes we wish that we didn't.
There's a double edge to it.
At times,
we're here for it.
But they're little humans, and so by the time that they're married or not even married, but in relation with other people, we want our children to be able to effectively communicate and respect their mate.
Right.
But if you're always, what you've seen was that you are to be quiet and there's a certain aspect to who you are, you're denying yourself. So for us in our house, we allow opportunities throughout the day, the weeks, for our kids to initiate, or for us to come to the table. And we talked about that a couple episodes with our talking stick.
Yeah.
So
at the brown table.
We're gonna have to get little Sean on here because he was supposed to do it last week, and he was like, "Not, only if my sissy is on here." But
and I would say again, as you practice some of the strategies this week, intentionally. Think about it, your mates, your family members, children, parents, the love language that you're using. Is it your own that you're reflecting, or are you really looking through the window at someone else's love language? And try consciously to stay looking through the window, really observe their love language and honor their love languages. And as Antoinette said, it's not about, nobody's paying attention to my love language. Just work on demonstrating that person's love language. Of course.
First.
Yeah, you first. We do honor the tests and the assessments. So definitely, if you get a chance, did you already post it or share?
I did not. I'll definitely do that. I'll put the link in the comments. I really would love for you guys to just try it out, because there's one more love language, and we're going to talk about that next week. So definitely join us back again next week. And hopefully at that time you've taken the quiz, and there's 3 different kinds of quizzes on there, but you've taken the quiz on your love language. And if you are in relation with someone in your house, I would encourage you to have them take the quiz too, and you can learn a little bit more about that person, right? And then their love language, and then do an act that would demonstrate their love language. And I guarantee you they will notice it.
Absolutely.
Right? You think you're doing a good job. When you speak in someone's love language, the mood of their heart changes, the mood in the room changes. And I definitely think it's worth it's about 5-minute, maybe 8-minute assessment. It's worth it.
It is worth it.
It's definitely worth it.
I want to say too, again, in full transparency, COVID it's lessening. It's not over.
It's still here.
But if you haven't checked in with your own therapist or counselor yet, again, you might have to still participate through telehealth and, via a screen. But I'm encouraging each and every one of you, definitely tap into your mental health. I have the opportunity to get back in touch with my therapist. And as Antoinette and I are talking and going through, I'm starting from scratch. Really, it seems like it's been a year and a half since I touched base with my therapist. But I appreciate mental health and therapy and counseling. So again, we are here to affirm mental health. And again, all of this, be it love languages, effective communication, talking about your finances, being in a relationship with God, making sure your homes are covered. Yeah. It's all part of the process. So we just encourage you, as the weather gets warm, definitely try to tighten up that piece of your lives as well. All right?
I totally agree.
Absolutely.
With the show and everything that we share, We could easily just keep it to ourselves, but it's not ours to keep.
Go ahead.
Right? You have just spent time with Sean and Antoinette of Forever in a Day Publishing, where we focus on and try to live daily God, family, career, and finances.
Yes.
So please be sure to check us out every week, 7 o'clock, Facebook Live. We also have a Twitter and Instagram page at FAAD LLC. And you can just link in with us there as well. And also, we do answer emails.
Yes.
We do answer emails, and we encourage you guys to send us emails with some questions, topic suggestions, or just a good word to encourage us for the next week. FAAD Publishing at gmail.com. So
it.
FAAD, Forever and a Day. Publishing LLC. Publishing at gmail.com.
There you go.
We hope that you guys have a beautiful evening. Be blessed. Know that you are loved
Yes.
and appreciated. Good night.